This is Heidi Holycross-Lui at the University of Northern Colorado, and today we're going to focus on Unit 17, and we're going to be talking about nouns and quantifiers. Let's get started with our unit overview. We have several different types of nouns. We have proper nouns and common nouns. Proper nouns are names of people, places, or things. Common nouns are basically just nouns that aren't names, so people, places, things, and ideas. We also have count nouns and non-count nouns. Count nouns can be either singular or plural, so you can add either s or es to them. Non-count nouns don't have plural forms. They take the singular verb forms, and you can't add s or es. Quantifiers are words that explain the amount of a noun. Alright, so I have some example sentences here, and I want you to find which nouns are the proper nouns. The Eiffel Tower is in Paris, France. Jessica and her sister traveled to the University of Northern Colorado in June. And the last sentence, Central Park is one of the most famous parks in New York City. Go ahead and pause the video so you can write down the proper name. If you look at the example, the nouns that are in blue are proper nouns. Go ahead and take a minute to figure out the common nouns. The orange words are the common nouns. Proper nouns have to start with a capital letter, but common nouns start with a lowercase letter unless they're the first word in a sentence. So this table shows you the types of proper nouns. We have people with people's names underneath it. We have places with names of places. We also have things and brand names, as well as months and days and nationalities. These are all proper nouns, and it's important that you capitalize all of these words, as well as words that work in similar ways. Let's look carefully at this sentence. Sarah traveled to Mexico in April. Do we use articles a, an, or the before proper nouns? No, we don't. You don't normally use articles in front of proper nouns. This is a table that's showing different types of common nouns. We have things, places, and people. These people aren't names of people, they're typically jobs that people do, like pharmacist or mechanic or student. Let's look carefully at these two sentences. The pharmacist gave the student his medicine. The cat is sitting on the sidewalk in front of the school. Do we use articles, a, an, or the, with common nouns? Yes, we do. We use articles with common nouns. We'll talk more specifically in one of the later units about articles, but for now, just remember that we use them in front of common nouns. Okay, so we've moved on from the different types of nouns to some more details about what types of nouns there are. We're going to talk about count and non-count nouns. If you look up at the two example sentences, they put some books and some money on the table, and they also put a few magazines and a little rice on the table. Those show you the different types of nouns. Is it correct to say a book, two books, or three books? Yes. Book is a count noun, so you can add s or es. But is it correct to say one money, two monies, or three monies? Go ahead and study the examples and see if you can figure it out yourself. No, it's not correct to say three monies because money is a non-count noun, so you can't add s or es to it. Count nouns, it's okay. So words like books and magazines, those are count nouns, and you can add s to those. But rice and money, you can't add s to them. It makes it incorrect if you do that. Okay, so let's look carefully at this review chart. I have count nouns on one side and non-count nouns on the other side. Let's talk about count nouns first. Count nouns can be plural or singular, and you add s or es to make it plural. Singular count nouns take singular verbs and pronouns, and plural count nouns take plural verbs and pronouns. You can use a, an, or the with count nouns. The examples I have up here for you are girl to girls, boy to boys, magazine to magazines, and two sentences. The books are read, the book is read. Non-count nouns, on the other hand, can't be made plural without a quantifier. You could add some or a lot of. We'll talk more specifically about quantifiers in a minute or so. You can't add s or es to non-count nouns, and these words always take a singular verb and pronoun. You also can't use a or an, but you can use the. You can say the money, that's okay. My examples I have for you are water. You can say a lot of water, food, some food, hair, too much hair. So here's another chart that just shows you the different types of nouns. The two big categories are proper nouns and common nouns. Then common nouns can be divided into count and non-count nouns. You can use quantifiers with both count and non-count nouns. Okay, so if you look here, I have a chart that describes the different categories for non-count nouns. So most of them fit into these types of categories. Abstract words like love or happiness, activities like dancing or swimming, fields of study like biology or psychology, and food. Words like meat, corn, and water are always non-count, but words like chicken is non-count if you're talking about it as the food, but if you're talking about it as the animal that runs around, it's okay to say, I have 5 chickens, because they're alive. It's a count noun if it's alive. Okay, so I have a chart for the quantifiers. These are words that explain the amount of something. For count nouns, you can use many, a great many, several, a few, and of course you can use numbers like 5, 1, 6. For non-count nouns, you would use a great deal of, a little, or much. For some quantifiers, you can use them with both count and non-count nouns. Quantifiers that fit into this category are words like a lot of, some, enough, and any. Sometimes English is really tricky, and little words like articles can make a big difference in terms of the meaning. Let's look at these examples. If you have the word a, there is enough food and enough toys in these top sentences. There are a few toys, there is a little food. But if you don't have the a, there's not enough food or there's not enough toys in these sentences. There are few toys, there is little food. I know this is tricky and hard. Let's look more specifically at how you use the quantifiers. For count nouns in the affirmative statements, you would say there are many books, there are a lot of students, there are enough computers for everyone. So the pattern is subject, verb, quantifier, noun. For negative statements, there aren't many books, there aren't a lot of students, there aren't any computers. The pattern is subject plus verb plus not plus the quantifier plus the noun. Go ahead and pause so you can study these examples. You may also use quantifiers in questions with count nouns. So if you say, are there any computers? Are there enough books? The pattern is the verb, subject, quantifier, and then the noun. Now let's focus on using quantifiers with non-count nouns. In affirmative statements, you would say there is a lot of time. There is much food here. There is enough water for all of us. The pattern here is subject plus singular verb plus quantifier plus noun. For negative statements with non-count nouns, you would say there isn't much time. There isn't any food here. The pattern for this is subject plus singular verb plus not plus the quantifier and plus the noun. Go ahead and pause so you can study these examples. You can also use quantifiers in questions with non-count nouns. Is there enough time? Is there any water left? Is there a lot of meat in this dish? So the pattern here is singular verb plus the subject plus the quantifier and then the noun. This is Heidi Holycross-Lui for the University of Northern Colorado, and I hope that you've enjoyed this presentation on the different types of nouns and quantifiers. I hope that you've learned enough that you can feel confident about using them.